Hello, beauties. Welcome to Cosmo Muse Tarot and this week's glow up message. So the glow up messages that I do are ones that I intend to be glow ups you're coming into just like right on the horizon within the next week to 10 days, if not already sensing it. So this week's glow up is centered around a glow up that you were always meant to have at the moment you see this reading. Like it's a destined glow up, it's in your stars. Coming into this life, you already knew you were going to have this glow up when you saw this reading, or at this time at least, not necessarily tied to the reading, but this reading is tapping into the fact that it was already in your stars, known you were always going to have this glow up at this time. So a destined glow up is what I'm going to be calling it. So let's pick 3 piles. I'm going to use the Tarot of the Divine. That took me a second. I'm like, what's this called? And we're just going to pull 3 tarot cards to represent the piles. The cards I pull are not going to be used in your reading. I'm going to re-put them into this deck, so it may, synchronicity may bring it back out for you. But yeah, it's just more kind of avatar pile picking tool here. Okay, so let's get your 3 piles. So in this one's a pile 1. We've got 3 of Swords. Pile 2, the Lovers. And pile 3, the High Priestess. So again, don't get too fixated on what the actual card is, because I will not be using this card in your reading. It's just a placeholder. So more so just like feel into the energy that each pile is giving off, what you're feeling drawn to. Maybe it's colors, maybe it's the way a face is appearing to you, or some other element, or the number, pile 1, pile 2, pile 3, or just generally just kind of being drawn in or magnetized to one of these 3 cards in general, whatever works for you. Also with my glow up readings, if you are feeling like you're coming into extra glow, feel free to choose multiple piles as well. That is fine. So when you're ready, timestamps are in the descriptions. You can pause if you need time, and I will see you in your readings. Hello, pile 1. Welcome to your glow up reading. We are looking at a glow up that was always meant to happen for you. Right around when you are drawn to this reading. So like something that's in your stars or in your destined path. Okay, so we're going to get 3 cards for you and see what they say. Kind of interested in keeping these all face down as I pick them, and then we'll kind of turn them over at once to get more of that immediate big picture vibe. Oops, except for that one turned over immediately, so we know you have the Magician card. Okay, let's see the other 2 cards. We've got Embracing, Cosmic Egg, and the Magician. And I'm reading this glow up in the context of like this was a destined glow up, so it feels, sort of like almost like a turning point glow up, or a glow up that's at least very memorable and meaningful, one that that feels fated. And then we're also going to roll an astrology dice with this, and we've got Leo. So that is kind of the quality associated with this. Yeah, so Leo, definitely, like, that feels like the pivotal thing to me about this glow up is something is happening where you're really starting to be in better communication with your heart, or like coming into this better understanding of how to listen to your heart, how to follow your heart, and how to lead from your heart. And that leading to you being more courageous, taking more, not necessarily those like impulsive type of risks, but those risks that come from a certain longing, come from something that scares you a little, that, so like when this glow up comes on, there may be something that has always scared you a little, and that you've really shied away from putting yourself out there in, and something sort of like clicking in around feeling stronger, feeling more courageous in your heart to actually do something that you've always wanted to do, or do something that you feel a lot about, at least. And it's something, I mean, I do feel that thing of like, this is around something that is long-standing. It's probably around something you've had a long longing around, and have struggled to find a certain sense of courage or clarity or opportunity or something like that. Because this cosmic egg feels like it's part of your design. It's part of what incubated into your own sort of like DNA and makeup. And so something that has been there, like it's always been there, right? Some dream that's always been there, but it's just been sitting in some kind of purgatory or liminal space, or off onto the sidelines for whatever reason. And that, it's so funny because I wouldn't typically read the cosmic egg in this way, but the way that I'm feeling the message coming through in this case, with the snake kind of wrapped around the cosmic egg, it's like you've really been holding something back and protecting it. Because the time, there is a timing element here. The timing wasn't right. It's like you had to, so with the embracing card, it's almost like you had to go through certain experiences in life, gain certain wisdom that made you more patient, that made you more thoughtful, and more serious about life. And so like something in you knew to hold back because like you weren't developed enough yet. You weren't ready enough yet. So it wasn't even that you weren't, like, I actually feel like you've probably listened to your heart really well, and it's been like, yeah, I have this longing, but I as a person am not ready, so I'm going to hold on to this longing because there's something that's still developing. In us in this lifetime that's not quite there, that's not quite mature enough, that's not quite patient and thoughtful and strategic enough yet, right? But something is clicking in, something's making sense. You have a certain sort of like you've been through certain experiences that have made you more capable of holding complexity, capable of seeing into the, like being able to see ahead in your life, being able to know where you're trying to take something, like the end goal. But yeah, and I do feel like a main quality that I'm feeling that like you've been waiting, your heart has been helping you to wait to develop, is a certain sense of patience and foresight. So for some of you that could be somewhat work related, where it's like you haven't put yourself into a type of role or gone after a certain, even if maybe it's like starting a business. Let's say it's that. It's like you've worked and you've gained certain experiences, but under other people's, money and umbrella, but you've always longed to start your own business. But something, it's like your heart has held you back from doing that until it's felt like you've grown into that kind of person that knows how to be strategic and focused and planned. So it doesn't necessarily have to be that. That's just one example, but that's sort of what it feels like here. So a glow up is coming in terms of like something's clicking in with this, and it's like your heart is indicating to you that you're ready to step up as like a leader or to into the light in something, because you've gained a certain kind of maturity and wisdom. And you're ready, with the Magician showing up too. Now that we're getting to this last card, with the Magician showing up too, that to me is that timing thing, that ready thing. And that's how you'll know it's clicked in, is you're going to know exactly what you need to do and the exact resources you have at your disposal and what to do with them and how to take action and how to put things into motion in ways that are like materializing things. But it's sort of like this knowing clicking in of exactly like what I need to do, when, how, where. Is just like this, it's just like this magic quality clicking in. And so that's sort of, I think this card to me is representing the, how do I know when this glow up has arrived? How do I know this glow up is kicking in? And it's because you'll just know what to do. You'll know your own magic. You'll just start taking action around some long-standing longing or dream, having to do with putting yourself out there with courage, going after something you've really longed for a long time. Yeah, so very cool. Really interesting glow up. I was kind of curious how these readings would go, but I like it. I think this was fascinating. Let me know in the comments how this resonated, if you sort of know what this might be talking about. In general, if this clicks for you, resonates for you. Always fun to hear back from you guys. Easier ways to just say yes, it resonated, as a good old thumbs up is always a great easy way to show support, and I always appreciate it. And yeah, good luck with your heart clicking in, and courage and some magic, and just like going after a dream. Really, yeah, you're ready for it. All right, I will see you guys in future readings. Hello, Pile 2. Welcome to your reading, where we are going to get some insight into a destined glow up, a glow up you're coming into very soon, within probably the next week. That's one that feels impactful, memorable, meaningful, because it has that kind of destined feel to it. Okay, so we're going to do just a couple of oracle cards and one tarot card and an astrology dice. It's a pretty quick, straightforward reading. Pile 1 was super interesting, so I'm excited to see what comes up for you guys. can get a card to come out for you. That one wants to come. Love. Beautiful. Okay. Raccoon. And then we will get a tarot card. Oh, that's too many cards. It's weird. The cards are feeling a little, I don't know, like they're not quite wanting to, they feel I don't know how else to describe it. It's like they feel like they're stalling. Okay, there we go. 3 of coins. Yikes. And then, so this was a little off camera, but once this flew out, it was like the whole deck was kind of falling apart in my hands and I was barely capturing it. So I do, I was trying to sense into what this stalling meant, how that energy was playing out in things, but it made more sense all of a sudden when the deck fell apart. So I feel like there's something maybe you've been anticipating, you've been waiting for. You don't even, it's not even that you would even know what the glow up's about or expect the specific glow up, but it's just like that you can sense something destined is kind of arising in you, and it's like that waiting, you know. So I do sense underlying in you, whether it's kind of conscious or unconscious, this this sense of like life has stalled, or some aspect of me has stalled out. Like, you know, like when a car stalls and you can't get it going, it's like some aspect of your life has maybe been feeling that way. But it's like when this glow up comes on, it will be sort of like the way the deck of cards kind of started falling apart in my hands. That felt more, not, the falling apart wasn't what was sticking out to me. It just felt like things were going to happen fast. And there was going to be this moment of like, oh my gosh, wait, okay, I gotta find a second to like wrap my head around what's going on here, right? Like a lot is starting to happen. And so that definitely feels accurate to me with the 3 of coins coming out. It's sort of like that definitely indicates, you know, there's like a lot of active energy in the 3 of coins, because there's work indicated there, but there's also sort of like collaboration and peers. So it's like the sphere of influence in this glow up touches a lot of things, like you, what you're doing, people involved in what you're doing. So there is kind of a social aspect to it. For some of you, it may be a work aspect, but definitely at least minimally a social aspect. And it's interesting, in this card, the pentacles actually are drums here. And so it's like some kind of new rhythm kicking in, maybe, that feels exciting, that feels enlivening. Which actually makes sense to me, because the way I was feeling about the love card was I was focused a little bit more on like flowers as pollinators rather than this like romantic thing, which feels confirmed. When the 3 of coins came out, that felt confirmed. I'm like, yeah, for most of you, I don't feel this as a romantic thing per se in terms of love, but like something's pollinating that brings, that you will love, right? Like something's happening that you will love. And then we get the 3 of coins, and it's some kind of rhythm that involves a wider sphere of activity in your life, some social activity and work activity. Some kind of rhythm is going to be setting in. So part of this glow up has to do with like maybe a shift that's happening external in your life, where things impacting your life create a new rhythm in you and also a new rhythm outside of you. And it feels very lively. It feels very pollinating and expressive and colorful and beautiful. And then the raccoon coming through here does give kind of like a creative bent to things. I don't know if like an alter ego kind of comes out, but in this like fun artistic way, or some kind of pen name or pseudonym. There's something creative going on here where there's like a mask involved, but not in a negative way where you're like hiding yourself. The mask is in order for you to be able to express experimental parts of yourself maybe that you're not sure are you, but like you're playing with your persona a little bit. And that is an expression thing. So something's happening in this glow up where you may not literally create some kind of like pen name or pseudonym or alter ego, but something like that is happening where you're feeling a sense of freedom to experiment out in your social and work and public life with who you are. And it may even just be you finding a new sense of confidence in like not necessarily caring so much about seeming stable or something. Like and even, like it could even be, there may be some actors here where it's like you're getting a lot of new different parts that are allowing you to try on, express things in you that haven't had an avenue to be expressed before, because you're getting, different type of work suddenly that's pushing what you're expressing and how you're expressing and all of that. Let's get a zodiac dice as well for this. And we've got Cancer. In the context of this reading, I feel like, okay. In the context of what we've been saying, to me, Cancer feels like you're finding the safe space is like some safe space is unfolding, or you're being invited into to be able to experiment and play with how you express yourself. It just feels fun. Something's unlocking, something's about to unfold. It's like you're invited into this new, it's not even community, it's more family feel, like your soul tribe, like you're finding a certain sense of just comfort and safety somewhere to just like really, and that in itself is bringing you a new internal rhythm and external rhythm. And then on top of that, there's this sense of safety in being able to really experiment and play with, who you are, what you express, what you're about, like really being able to look at all sorts of different dimensions in yourself that you've never explored. It's really interesting. It feels artistically related, but it doesn't have to be. That could be just, finding all of a sudden like you're at work on a new project that bring in different colleagues that you hadn't worked with, and that dynamic like opens up a lot of new dimensions in you. It's like the right concoction of people that are like, you're all like bringing out new things in each other. So it could even be more, not artistic, but still this very dynamic thing where like new things, there's a certain safety and connection that's allowing new things to be seen and utilized in you. But whatever it is, it feels very fun. It feels like it's bringing a new rhythm inside of you and outside of you. It's very dynamic energy. So really cool, really, yeah. Anyway, that's what's coming through. I hope that resonated. Very interesting. These glow-ups are very interesting this week. I'm really liking them. So yeah, if this did resonate, I always appreciate support. Likes, shares, and subscribes are always great ways to do that. And kind and thoughtful comments are also always great, and good luck with this glow up. I'm excited for you guys and intrigued as well. So yeah, hope to see you in future readings, and yeah, good luck with this. Hello, pile 3. Welcome to your glow up, a glow up that's coming in sometime in the next week or so. And a glow up that is destined. So it feels meaningful, it feels memorable, it feels impactful. Pile 1 and 2 are both super fascinating. Yeah, I'm very curious to see what else comes out. So let's jump into your guys' glow up. Okay. I'm gonna keep... Unless the cards come out upright already, I'm going to keep them down to reveal them more all at once. I kind of like, there's something about this reading where I'm like wanting to get the big picture at once rather than piecemealing it. Okay, filling this one. And then let's get you a tarot. Okay. I feel, I've been rolling a Zodiac dice too, and it's kind of, I've felt called to do that at very different points in each one, and I'm kind of wanting to do that for whatever reason for you guys before I turn over any of your cards. We've got Gemini. So Gemini has a lot to do with kind of community, a sense of belonging, the mind. So how we think, connection, communication, dynamism, expression, use of our hands, so kind of craftiness and articulation. Yeah, we'll see what aspects of Gemini feel important when we get these turned over. So we've got inner peace, butterfly, and the Hermit with Gemini. I immediately feel this, that like you, I don't know how, and it might be because it's a different amount of time for each of you. I mean, obviously it would be a different amount of time for each of you, but it might like vary quite dramatically, like a week to years, depending on the person. But I've immediately had this kind of sensation that took a minute to get a visual with it, where it's sort of like a lot of inner turmoil. So Gemini can represent where we're really internally struggling to find kind of, I mean, we've all had those times where we feel a lot of inner tension, right? Of like, who am I? What do I want? Where am I going? And just like battles within yourself that take place. That's very Gemini type of energy. And the reason that's kind of like our yin and yang halves, trying to find pathways of connection internally. And a lot of times the way we are able to figure out how to do that is through finding where we feel this resonance with belonging in community, and using words to start expressing things out of us. So we, when we use our words and we start connecting, we see how we work a little better come outside of us. So we're able to see it a little better in front of us instead of being tangled up inside of us. And then that resonance you sort of feel, that could be called belonging, can also help reflect to you certain things about who you are. And so that's where that like connection and communication and community have a pretty big association with Gemini in terms of understanding your own self and harmonizing your own tension. So I immediately had that feeling of that inner tension starting to happen. But rather than, it's sort of an interesting Gemini message that I'm feeling, that it's almost like you tried that. You tried to find the belonging, you tried to find the connection, but it was like something wasn't clicking, and it felt very important to just like go deep inside of yourself, like really retreat and go deep within, because it was like there was something deeper you were meant to find. Like Gemini is kind of on the surface of things in like a beautiful way. A lot of times with like, I'll use the word shallow with Gemini, but it has such normalized associations that a lot of people think that's a bad word, but the way I'm using it is really beautiful. Like shallow is adornment, it's pollinating, it's expressing, it's colorful. Like shallow doesn't have to be a negatively a word that has negative connotation, and the way I use it with Gemini isn't. Like shallow is what's on the surface, and sometimes what's on the surface is really beautiful, and it's something we should move around and pollinate, right? But it's like something wasn't you weren't getting what you needed on the shallow end of things. And so it's like you had to go really deep within. Oh, yes, I know what this is. This is because the Hermit has a Virgo association, and Virgo and Gemini are both ruled by Mercury. And this totally brings to mind, and I'm sorry, there could be spoilers here if you've never watched the Loki series on Disney. And maybe you're not interested, so you won't watch it, so it doesn't matter. But if you have been wanting to watch that and haven't, there are spoilers in here, so do with that what you will. But the Loki character has a lot of mischief to it. So like Loki and Mercury in terms of mythology have a lot of similarities, which is, Mercury rules these two. And so there's deep association to that archetype. So Loki in the Gemini phase, which comes before Virgo, can be a little bit mischief making because it's trying to find those connections, and it, that's where the shallow word can sometimes turn into what we think of as shallow. It's, it meddles, and it is fickle, and it's non-committal, and, so like Mercury in terms of ruling Gemini is just like exploring though, but sometimes that exploring can turn a bit mischievous. And sometimes that mischief can be hurtful to others. Never more hurtful than it is to ourselves, but that's not how everyone always reads it, because it doesn't feel good to be messed with mischief, right? But in the Loki story, it kind of picks up from a point in the Marvel, like Loki kind of enters into the Thor lore. That's where his thread picks up in the Marvel universe, is in Thor, because he's a brother to Thor, but was like an adopted brother. And through those initial kind of Thor movies, and I think he's in some Avengers, he's kind of a villain type character because he's mischief making. But underneath it all, you do sense he's trying to just find his place. And then where the Loki series picks up, kind of takes him on his own journey, kind of sections him off and puts him into his own journey of growth and finding his place. And I'm not going to do too much of spoilers here, partially because I just need to keep this short, but partially because, I don't want to completely spoil a story. But where the Loki series ends, I think there's 2 seasons in it, he does end up finding his place. And I think it's from this movie. If it wasn't from this movie, I heard it and was like, oh my gosh, that totally works for Loki, but I'm pretty sure it was from the series, not the movie, where it's sort of like he's always trying to, get the crown or become like the ruler of something. And there's kind of an ally he makes in this that's like, why do you just want to be the ruler of this? You have so much range, which, Mercury or Loki in actual mythology, they have a lot of range. They can go, like Mercury is the only god that can go to the underworld and back without, with easy passage or without dying or whatever. And so there's just like a lot of range with this character. They're allowed in so many places. And so this ally was always kind of saying like, why would you limit yourself to that? Don't you see your range? But, in Loki's mind, it was like, well, that's the ultimate, like the king of Asgard or whatever it is, or king of Earth, or all these different places are like, well, I mean, what is bigger than that? That is the range of everything. But by the end, he comes into this realization that when you do find that place where you find your purpose, where you click in and really find what you're supposed to be and do, it's so much less about glory than it is about duty. And there's this thing that happens where you really, really step into a new quality of maturity that happens. And I feel this happening for you. This glow up is about really switching from just like chasing the things because there's glory and that would be, the ultimate prize in general, to being like, oh, this is what my purpose is. And it may be seen as glory from the outside, and the old version of me may have seen that as glory, but because I see this as my purpose, it means something different, and there's a certain sense of responsibility there. So it's more of a duty. It's more of something that I am supposed to shoulder, right? Heavy is the head that wears the crown. This isn't fun. This is going to be hard, and this is a responsibility and a duty that I take seriously. So like it's like you went deeper. You knew there was something deeper. And so it's like, I feel like you've been on that journey that like similar to Loki went on, where it's like you went from a version of yourself that was like maiden to finding your crone, that journey took you from maiden into mother. And now you're stepping into that crone thing of like, oh, I know my, that thing I'm supposed to hold, right? And it is more serious, and I've become a more mature person, and I know I have to do this not because it's like an ego thing, but because it's what I can do and should do. And it's transforming you, but at the same time, and where the glow up comes in with this, is that even though there's this transition from like, this is my glory to this is my duty, because it's your purpose, because you feel something about it and there's something meaningful about it, you actually find that inner peace you've always been looking for. And it never was you were never going to get inner peace from the glory. It was always going to come from stepping up to the plate, to something that was hard, but that you could do and should do. and like stepping into and owning your purpose, right? So I love, it's a very, very powerful glow up, but you are finding your peace, right? You're moving from a lot of Gemini and anxiety. Virgo does hold some anxiety too, but it's a different one. It's stemmed in a certain purpose, so it's a little easier to hold, and you find a certain wholeness in Virgo. And so it's like that peace is coming in because you know what you were meant to do. And even though that may be hard, there's just like a new piece coming in because you know who you are, why you are, what you are, all the things, who, what, why, where, when. It's just clicking in, right? And so it's a glow up because it's bringing you peace, even if it is bringing something you're supposed to shoulder, but it's like so meaningful and purposeful to you. Wow, that was really powerful. So I highly suggest going and watching, if you're not familiar with Loki and you have some access to Disney Plus, go check that out. It's a really, and if you understand this arc I've been talking about, and then you can watch it in that context, it might really mean something to you. It is 2 seasons, so there's some time investment, but yeah, go check it out. It might really hit home for something you are coming into, at least by the time you get to the end of the series. And I apologize for tiny spoilers. I didn't ultimately spoil it, but spoiled the arc at least. Not the details of the arc, but a little bit about the arc. Okay, anyway, I hope that this resonated. I'm really excited for this glow up for you. It's really powerful, really transformative. Really like a real pivotal point. So take it seriously, right? All right. If this did resonate, ways you can support me or show some support, thumbs up is super easy. Kind and thoughtful comments are always welcomed and something I'm grateful for. And I just wish you so much beauty and magic with whatever you're stepping into here. And I hope to see you in future readings.